Hello there everyone. Today we're gonna do these. These are called the Kobberbasse, and this is called the earthworm. And basically I'm gonna show you how to tie the Kobberbasse first, and then I'm gonna show you exactly how to tie the earthworm afterwards, because the Kobberbasse is very, very traditional and a very, very great Danish salmon fly. No, not salmon, of course, a sea trout fly, very, very famous. So I'm gonna show you that, and then I'm gonna show you a little tweak so you can actually just make this into the earthworm pattern instead. So the first thing we need is, of course, a hook. And for this fly I use the Kobberbasse 2600 STV, a really, really awesome fly. Oh, I just have to turn my phone down so it doesn't ring. I'm sorry about that. Okay, like that, sorry. And well, basically what we need is one of these hooks, and then we need a small bead. Because I like to have this pattern have a bit of a small amount of weight added to it. So this way we're gonna do it like this. So just a small bead. You can leave this off, or you can just, if you're fishing in very shallow water, then maybe I do sometimes do that as well. Then I have some in my box that is weighted and some that is not. But basically the one I use the most has this small bead. This is also a variation from the original pattern. So the first thing we're going to do then is basically use the two only material that's going to be used: copper dubbing and then some SLF dubbing in squirrel. And the reason why I blend these two and I like this combination is because it gives it a bit more spikiness. It makes it look. It makes the fly look a lot more buggy and a lot more like, well, basically like food. So what we do is we take some of both of these dubbings, like this, and then we blend them by simply pulling them apart, laying them on top of one another, pulling them apart, turning them over, then putting them back together again. And once you've done that a few times, then basically take it and then mash it, roll it up between your fingers. Then you have the ball here, and you can basically rip it apart again. And this really makes it makes the mixing of these two very, very nice and very, very smoothly. The original pattern is all copper dubbing, but as I said, I like to mix this up a bit and to have it, you know, with some contrast and a bit more spike to make it a bit more buggy. Okay, I think actually this needs a little more copper, so I'm gonna add a bit more copper to this one, like so. Okay, I think that's about it. Just gonna give it one last rumble in the jungle, or whatever we're gonna call that. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna put this off to the side, and then I'm gonna take a small amount of this mix here, and I'm gonna make this into a tail for the fly. Not a big one, but basically just a small tail here. Fold that part back. And there we have a small tail, like this. And this, I must say, this is in Denmark one of the best producing sea trout flies of all time. This is truly a classic, and I'm very sure that this fly will excite and catch a lot of fish in lakes and stuff like this all around the world. It really is a very simple, very good start out fly if you're only getting into fly tying, and it just hammers fish. Okay, then I'm gonna do a dubbing loop. And what I basically do is I take the thread, and then I double it, I pull it around my finger here, and I double it. It's gonna be a little more easy to see in a second, like this. And as you can see, now I have a loop here that is all the way out to my finger, and I can put stuff into that. But before I do that, in order to close the loop, then I take my thread and put it one way, all the way around the bottom of the loop here. And this makes so that it's very narrow. It's completely tight, the end of the loop here. Then I'm going to take the thread, and I'm going to move the thread all the way up to the bead, and then I'm going to take some dubbing here. And one of the things that is important to remember, and many people tend to overdo, is using too much material. But with a fly like this, then fortunately, if you're using too much material, you can always pick it out in the end, and then basically just add it to the pile of dubbing, and then you have for your next fly. So I added the dubbing here. I kind of pulled it out into kind of like a long, thin. This is about the length and width of my middle finger. I'm not going to show you that one, but about the length of width of my middle finger, and then I basically just place that inside the dubbing loop. Then I take my dubbing twister. This is the one from CF Design. It is the best dubbing twister out there. It's just phenomenal. And when I spin this, you see, you get kind of this this dubbing brush, this bulky sausage-like, thing, and you can pull some of the dubbing out of this to make it a bit more buggy. But basically, then you just take this and you just turn it, and it creates this wonderful dubbing body that is very spiky, very buggy looking, and just this is one of these patterns that it doesn't imitate anything, but it kind of can look like a lot of different things, and it has a bit of spark to it and stuff like that. So that's why trout will go for this, because basically it looks like something that is edible. And the only thing trout can do in order to see if something is edible is by trial and error. So a lot of the times trout are going to go for things that are not really food. I've seen trout try to eat branches and stuff like that, and just spit them back out. And they're going to do that to our flies as well, unless we set the hook before they have time to spit them back out again. But we gotta be very pleased with that level of curiosity, and that they have to do it by trial and error, because a lot of the times I think that's the only thing that makes it possible to catch a fish, because our flies are basically so far away from what the actual trout food looks like, that it's nice that sometimes they grab it by mistake. So basically I'm going to take my dubbing brush here. I'm going to brush a lot of dubbing out, and then I'm going to brush it backwards. So it's gonna have kind of like it's gonna be a bit translucent, a bit transparent, and there you have it, the Kobberbasse, a truly magnificent pattern that caught a lot of fish in Denmark. And as I said in the beginning, what I want to do is I want to show you a variation of this that's called the earthworm, which basically is the same pattern. It just has a squirmy wormy tail. So what we're going to do to tie this is simply to take another hook, mount it exactly the same way as we did the first one, with a copper bead here. Like so. Add it to the vise. And then take the thread all the way down here. And of course, this is a nice pattern that will work in a lot of different colors. So if you want to make this in fluorescent pink or something like that, you go for it. It's just a base pattern you can use for a lot of different things. Then you take one of these squirmy wormy for the copper one in the color earthworm, and before you attach this to the hook, take a small amount of dubbing, and we do this to have a better foundation for the squirmy wormy to fasten upon. So basically, I just take a small amount of dubbing here to give the squirmy wormy a better foundation, and then I take a couple of not that strong turns of thread. I tie this a bit further up the hook, and then as I move up here, I'm gonna apply more pressure further up the hook, like this. Just gonna pull this back there. Gonna pull on this, and then apply the pressure, and make sure when you apply the pressure to this that you don't apply too much pressure down here where where the tail, the squirmy wormy tail, actually starts, because if you do that, it's easy for you to pull the thread through the squirmy wormy tail and basically just ruin it. And from here on out, it's just exactly the same fly. You just add the dubbing in the loop, and then you have the earthworm pattern instead of the Kobberbasse. And of course, you can do the tail as long as you like, and you can do any colors you like. This is just a very good, nice, easy pattern that catches a lot of fish. So there you have the Kobberbasse, the earthworm, and as I said, you can do this in as many colors as you like. Well, that was it for now. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please visit my web shop for all the materials, and of course subscribe to the channel. That would mean a lot to me. My name is Daniel, and I'm signing off, hopefully to go fishing. Thank you for watching.